Conceive, believe, achieve. Shut the f*** up.
This is Believe You Me on the Gas Digital Network.
Yeah,
Nate Diaz, Bruce Buffer.
Yeah, he's beefing with Bruce. I guess they had asked Bruce Buffer, Bruce Buffer has just chimed in, and Nate Diaz obviously has had his issues with the UFC and Dana White, and Nate plays the Diaz brother role, and he talks shit and blah blah blah. I'm not fighting. I am fighting. Sure, I don't even pay attention anymore at this point. I'm like, that's what they do. They like to make a lot of noise, and I love them. I'm fans of them. But
hey, can I? Well, hold on. We'll get to Bruce in a second. All right, no, let's go with Bruce. I was just going to say, I love the Diaz brothers. Of course, I love to watch them fight. They're awesome fighters. They're a lot of fun. But the tantrums, man, have got to stop. I mean, he's there for his press conference. Nate Diaz, Dustin Poirier. And at the end of it, Dana announces Conor versus Khabib. And Nate swans off, storms out of the building because it took the shine of his big moment. It's like, come on, you got to deal with it, buddy. Listen, I'm not knocking Nate Diaz. He's awesome. And he's a straight up G, bro. But come on, get a grip.
So this is what Buffer said when asked about Nate. He said, "I love Nate, but he's always got a bad taste in his mouth." Nate, I heard you made $7 million or more in your last fight. I don't want to hear you complaining about being underpromoted by the UFC. You should be thanking the UFC and bowing to Dana White every time you see him. Him and Ari Emanuel, Patrick Whitesell. You've got $7 million or more gross before taxes, maybe much more, which I love knowing that you have. Nate, please, I don't want to hear any more. So he, strong words for Nate Diaz, and then Nate Diaz went all fucking Nate Diaz. And what did Nate
What'd he say?
Harrington, pull up or send me the quote right there. All right, so this is what Nate tweeted, right? Yeah. So he tweeted, "Bruce Buffer, what the fuck? Get off the UFC's nuts. You're bowing down right now, telling me to bow down. Fuck that. You keep bowing down. I bow down to no one ever for all the money in the world."
Okay. I agree with Bruce. I agree with Bruce. I agree with Bruce Buffer.
You know what? You know who doesn't agree with Bruce?
You.
Bruce doesn't agree with Bruce.
Nate Diaz.
No, Bruce doesn't agree with Bruce because when pressed on it for a fucking second.
No, I know.
Bruce
He
Buffer
backtracked.
buckled like a bitch.
Yeah, but he didn't buckle like a bitch. Read out Bruce's rebuttal.
Here, I got it right here. With all respect, Nate, that is not what I meant by saying the word bow, quote unquote. I meant it as a sign of respect, as in when greeting someone, not a sign of submission, as I'd never expect you to do that for anyone at Nate Diaz 209.
Yeah. What's wrong with that?
That's not
listen. Yeah, of course it is. Listen, here's the thing. I'm sorry, but if it wasn't for the UFC, Nate Diaz, we wouldn't be talking about him right now.
Of course.
Right? He made a lot of money in those couple of fights. He's made millions of dollars. So maybe Bruce could have chose his words a little differently. Maybe not bow down. But he should have been like, listen, come on, stop playing the victim. You've done very well out of the UFC. Of course, that's primarily, almost 100% down to Nate Diaz, his fighting ability, his reputation, his attitude that people love. That's why he's a star. But it takes two to tango. You need a promotion. And they gave Nate the Conor fight. He made a ton of money. Now, Nate earned himself that rematch because he beat Conor when he wasn't supposed to. But again, he made a ton of money for it. So I think what Bruce was trying to say, listen, stop being the victim all the time. There's no need to be a victim. Yeah, he could have chose his words a little differently. Respected Nate Diaz for going right back at him. That's what we would expect from Nate Diaz. That's why we love him. But as I say, Bruce could have worded it a little differently, but I do understand what he's saying.
Yeah, well, here's it. I agree with you wholeheartedly, and I've said for a very, very long time, the UFC, those three letters, they're so valuable because anybody on the roster, including Conor, including Brock, including anybody, if they're not fighting for the UFC, they're not going to be taken seriously. This is just a fact. We watch other wrestlers go into other promotions that had big names, and it didn't mean shit. Brock Lesnar, it was a combination. It's a dance, and in my opinion, the UFC leads the dance. With everybody, including Conor. If you would have had Conor coming up through Bellator, nobody would give a fuck. Period. Nobody. He wouldn't be a household name. He wouldn't be a multimillionaire. He wouldn't have put Bellator on the map. It would have been just another fighter. I really think that, and I really do believe that. And Conor's a very, very special fighter. And I was gonna say, I don't know if I made that point before I finished saying that if he beats Khabib after this much time off, I will without a doubt say he's number one pound for pound in my book. Number one pound for pound. Taking that much time off, unbelievable.
For sure,
But
absolutely.
without digressing,
Listen, you can't deny that if he comes back, because we are digressing, but if Conor does beat Khabib, and it's a big if, because of course Khabib is undefeated, 26-0, defeats his opponents very dominantly, and has a bad style for Conor. On the flip side, though, Conor's got a bad style for Khabib. If Khabib can't get Conor to the floor, Khabib's fucked because he can't stand with Conor. We've seen it time and time again. He can't stand with Conor. Conor is a superior striker. Conor is fast, fluent, powerful, agile, great footwork. He's a great athlete. He's a fantastic fighter. On the feet, it's one-way traffic. In the grappling, it's one-way traffic from the other person. If Conor can beat him, yep, I agree.